Hello, everyone. I think it's time to start now. We had a big talk down there in the main stage, so thank you for coming up to this one. I'm Joseph, and in the title here, I have the word, your post-ETH2 dreams, because I am also interested to hear what some of your views are on, what could be done in Ethereum after, rollups. And also, just to start out with, just want to make sure that this is just, some wish lists from my perspective. It's nothing like, any roadmap or anything like that. So I work at Consensus in an applied R&D group. And so this is the main thing that I wanted you to start to think about. It's like, what do you envision technically for Ethereum? And, it's like, what happens after, we have rollups? Is that just it? And, that we just, Ethereum is just like that and just operates just like the way that the internet has been operating for the past decades? Or, is there more that we might want to do? Right, and I also have here after stateless block production and verification. I did these slides just a couple months ago, but it's already, things change a lot in the R&D, so we won't, for statelessness in Ethereum, the plan is, immediately, it's not to be stateless block production. So the block producers are going to be required to hold the state. And it's called weak statelessness, so that's part of the, and I have a number of links here, and there's even newer links. So let me go here. So here in this slide, I guess this is, if I have a wish list, here's like a wish list that I have here, these items. So then, some of the things that I wonder about is, am I asking for too much or am I asking for too little? So I can, one of the main points is I think, after, even after rollups, I think there's still much innovation that can and should be done in layer one. And I have these bullet points. Presentation is, a mix of like how much you want me to explain some of these things versus how much you want to share what views you have on things. Because definitely, when I talk about some of these points with other people's, definitely I get very interesting other views and opinions and feedback. So we have, we have like 3 microphones. Albert also has one there, so if there's a way that we can, make it a little bit interactive as well. But I'll start out to explain some of these viewpoints that I have here on the slides. And first, I guess the TLDR is basically, Ethereum like it is now, but cheaper, more secure and faster. So that's the underlying wish list that I have. Is like it is now, where especially from the user perspective, it's not going to change too much, right? Like, so part of that point is the next one, where, Ethereum is able to preserve, composable, atomic, and synchronous defaults. So that's a bunch of, technical terms there. If anyone has any questions along the way, I'm always happy to answer along the way. So, can we pass to this one? Okay.
How do you preserve synchronousness and atomicity between shards?
That's a good question. So part of my presentation this is kind of like, that's why I call it like a dream and a wish list, because some of the things that I'm asking for could be very, very, difficult. But part of my view is that, we should not back away from something that's like very difficult or maybe really challenging. It's like, we shouldn't like keep deferring. So that's one of the things.
I worked on a team that built something that did nearly all of these, but it's very, very difficult to do the sharding and the atomicity between sharding, almost impossible without sort of locking.
Okay.
In fact, there's some quite good theories as to why it's impossible. Sorry.
What
Sure.
did you say at the start there? You said where it was built?
Dfinity.
Oh, Dfinity, yeah.
Yeah, I'm a very recently ex-Dfinity employee, so it's interesting that most of your wish list is features Dfinity already has.
Okay. Well,
Not to shill.
Yeah, sure. No, it's good. It's like if there are these features, then others have built them already as well. I think one of the advantages in Ethereum is, it's being able to adapt as well, things like that. But yeah, the main thing that you were saying was, how to do it, and you said it's very, very difficult, and I would not disagree with that. Dankrad, can't remember his last name, but Dankrad, that's just his Twitter handle from the Ethereum Foundation. He had an interview at Epicenter, and he was also asked the same question. And his answer was, if we remove the synchronous part, his answer was it was a very hard engineering problem to have like cross shard, transactions, execution, sharded, even in an asynchronous manner. But then he said, but then when he was asked about how about synchronous, then he said that he also thought it was possible, but even harder. So I think we all agree on that. But again, this is why, again, it's like, if we limit our dreams too small, right, then we're never going to reach there. So that's why I'm okay to try to throw a big goal like this, but go ahead.
Yeah, I was just going to say, it's great that you're attending the session here, because if the one thing that I would like every domain in the crypto space to recognize is other people are doing other things that are more interesting and better, and ignoring it is not going to make it go away. And furthermore, the only way we can advance is if there are things that are appropriate, try to include portions of them, or try to build tighter bridges to other systems. In my mind, I think part of the reason why Dfinity had people like you come in and work on problems like this is that it explicitly stated it was really trying to build the world computer in the sense of replace AWS. And that meant being able to scale out to millions and billions of server threads, billions of server threads running, which Ethereum was never there. Ethereum was a very nice scalable transaction settlement layer with some atomicity in it. So there's different levels of scale. Joseph's putting his opinion up there, but I think 10-year future where Ethereum doesn't scale to anything of Dfinity's dreams is still a very good future, because you build things hierarchically, and the base settlement does not necessarily, if it's doing big enough value, it doesn't need to be at the same level. But anyway, so I just wanted to say thank you, and let's interject again, please. Yeah.
Yes, thank you. And again, the title of the presentation, right, was the decade after ETH2, and it was it's I don't think anyone seeks for a decade more of work, but it's just more the realization that if these are some of the things that we do want, then it might really take that long. And so if you want me to continue, for the new people who come in, basically it's, I'm interested to hear what your views are as well, or your wish list of what Ethereum should be able to accomplish, after ETH2, after rollups. Is it just, okay, that's it, everything's just going to be in rollups and layer 2s, and that's it, nothing else really needs to be improved, or do you have items on your wish list? Yeah, go ahead again. And sorry, what was your name?
David.
David, okay.
This is, once again, I don't know Ethereum very well, but I think it'd be lovely if after ETH2 we could get a WASM runtime. It's just the ability to compile real programming languages down to when I worked in Dfinity, I got my Rust compiler. It was unmodified. I could compile whole web servers down, I could run them, and I come over and I use Solidity, and it's sort of, I'm not coming here to shit talk Ethereum at all, but it's really night and day. You have all these sort of, you want to make if I want to make a QR code on Ethereum, it would take me 2 weeks. If I want to do it in Rust, I just download a library, I install it, or I use a C library, I use C++ library. I think there's real value in that, and it seems like that has entirely stalled as far as I can see in the Ethereum community, which is a real shame. Actually, I would love to hassle someone to see if I can get some money to work on it. A little off topic. That's something I'd really think would be great.
No, it's okay. Yeah.
That's perfectly on topic, I would definitely say. Yeah, no, it's just good forum for, Joseph knows all about why WASM's at the various places, but it's not forgotten. It's definitely still on the roadmap out there. Some of the things he has here just aren't even on the roadmap right now.
Yeah, I can give my take on the WASM part is that it's implementing the metering. Again, this is just my take, so I might not be too accurate. There are other people in the eWASM team that their name now is Epsilon, but that could describe it more why they've kind of stopped it for now. But I really think it was just adding the metering in the WASM bytecode.
I mean, can you just use Definity's metering system?
So yeah, I'm not too familiar with what Definity has done in that area, but I always do check with the with the main WASM people, right? On hey, looks like are they aware of these different things that people are trying out, and they've been pretty much aware of a lot of them. So again, I think it's not so much that they don't want to do what other people have done. It's definitely not that. But I think, when you get to the nuance and the technical parts, yeah, they can probably explain where some of the shortcomings are. Yeah, thanks for, So again, anyone else who wants to chime in, just feel free, because we even have a third microphone here. So transparent shards, yeah, otherwise I'll just keep going through my list, and there's other discussion topics. So transparent shards, I guess what I mean by that is where programmers, they do not have to specify which shard that they're going to deploy to. I mean, that's just a simple way to explain it. Because in some of the proposals in the past, it's like if you're a programmer and you want to deploy a smart contract, it's like you have to give it, okay, I want to deploy it in shard 1 or shard 2, right? And it's kind of like one way that I think about it, again, I don't know, the other person who's been talking a lot here is like Robert, who's in front of David. I don't know as much about CPUs or whatever, but just enough of the basics that maybe in the mainframe or older decades ago, right, when you were a programmer, maybe you do have to specify which CPU is going to be used, which thread is going to be used, things like that. Right, but now everyone who's programming, you don't have to really specify any of those details, right? So maybe similar thing with in Ethereum, it should be you don't have to specify which shard you deploy to, and then again, there's also this my next bullet point here is automatic load balancing across shards. It's like again, this is like a dream system, and this is why I think it might take a long time, but. Did someone have a question there? Oh, okay, no, okay. So with automatic load balancing across shards, smart contracts are moved, copied, whatever, yanked you want. And this is where my question is, am I asking for too much? Is this, for a decade or more than a decade? And then the last bullet here, again, everyone could have a lot of wish lists, but being complex calculations, being able to run off-chain, and that you can verify and them on-chain. So a lot of this is with the zero-knowledge proofs, right? Like on-chain, that they can really verify the proofs of these really complicated calculations that were done off-chain, but can be done, cheaply verified on-chain. So those are some of the items from my list here. And so, yeah, I was interested to see, any things that stand out for people about what they think, there could be done in Ethereum, or am I asking for too much to just like, no, don't do any of this stuff? Okay, hello.
Okay, I have an opinion on that. So thank you, Joseph, for the presentation and for the interactive talk. I think it's a great idea. So yeah, some of the things that I would definitely envision for Ethereum, and like some of the stuff that I was working on, is basically doing the complex calculation off-chain and basically verifying them on-chain. So I think it's really an interesting topic, but it's not so much related to how Ethereum basically will develop. It's more related to the cryptography itself, because like usually how you do these, especially if you want to like provide privacy, security to that, you will use zero-knowledge protocols, homomorphic encryption, multi-party computation in order to do this off-chain and then verify them on-chain. But it's taken so much time to develop all these protocols and make them actually something that works efficiently. It's like, for example, homomorphic encryption, it exists like for several years, but for now we can only do like partial homomorphic encryption, and basically we can either do addition or multiplication, so it doesn't really allow us to do that complex calculation. So yeah, I think it would be great to have it, but again, it's not related to Ethereum. It's more like how cryptography evolves. I think the great thing about the crypto ecosystem is that some of these really cool topics, research topics, were just written on papers before. 20 years ago were just written on papers, and no one was actually using them in the Web 2.0. But when Ethereum started and all the other blockchain projects, they were like, they were doing innovation, so they basically started to develop all these projects, and like zero knowledge proofs have evolved a lot since that time, and a lot of the projects are using them and making them even better and better with less overhead, of course, on chain. So it could be great to see more people working on such topics, because I haven't seen in the ecosystem a lot of projects doing off-chain computation. But yeah, I think that would be great to have it also for Ethereum.
Yeah, I agree. Some of this is beyond, as you were saying, beyond Ethereum as well. It's like, some of this cryptography needs to get more developed. I think for Ethereum wise, it's like what David was also saying, that the VM is itself, like whether it's WASM or some other VM, if there's a way that can get improved, so that whenever it's trying to verify some of these cryptographic primitives, it can do it pretty efficiently. So Praneeth has a question.
And this may not be exactly technical, but would definitely like to see other mechanisms for client teams and more diversity in clients, and better ways for developers to keep working on clients. I don't know if there's there could be mechanisms that could be put in place to do this, or even more so, I guess developer and I guess maybe dev tooling in some way, shape, and sense related to specific runtimes that the clients maybe cater to. That would basically help more people essentially get into the weeds, and also kind of help create a layer for easier interaction with.
Yes. I agree. The more people and programmers that we can bring into Ethereum, whether it's building other clients or other tools or other libraries, it's really it's also definitely a nice thing to definitely have on the wish list. And especially with the prior talk that in the main stage that maybe most everyone was at, it's like yeah, with these ideas of the retroactive, grants for, public goods. The tricky thing with some of these clients is that, it's like maybe people see it as a public good and it's harder to like monetize from it. So that's why, we don't have as many clients as we would think, right? But yeah, I think some of these other ideas people are always coming up with will help improve things.
Yeah, I just wanted to add a comment on what Amira was saying about the cryptography, that I think it's very normal and healthy that like Ethereum itself doesn't like invent technology, right? People do, and people invent technology in a place that, makes sense, either, makes them feel included or good or, pays bills, gets some credit, can do a startup company, what have you. And in some cases, yeah, it may look like it's Ethereum doing it because they funded it from the EF and they've got the researchers and everything. I think it's important for any protocol, not just Ethereum, to just always be on the lookout for what other people are doing and seeing if it makes sense to bridge to it. Does it make sense to try to adopt to some of it? Like one of the stories on Ethereum 2 was, I think Mustafa was the researcher who was very concerned about data availability, especially for multi-sharded systems, because it's a very strong attack profile and it changes the finality of Ethereum 2. And pushed very hard, has done well with Lazy Ledger, although now I can't remember what the name is of it. No, I think it's still Lazy Ledger, right? Celestic. Oh, Celestic, okay. They did change the name. And it's a very pure vision of data availability. And then Ethereum, what you observe is that Vitalik, who actually co-authored the paper with Mustafa, so it's not like he wasn't working with him earlier on, looked to see whatever he could take from data availability sampling and put kind of arguably a weaker version of it into the shard system of Ethereum 2, so that at least Ethereum 2 didn't have that kind of default, and so it acts as like a portion of it. But Mustafa is able, along with others, to still do a pure data availability chain. So it's one of these things of like Ethereum shouldn't be assumed to be like the place where everything's going to get expressed. And in some sense, like, Joseph, when you ask how far should Ethereum to go, it's like, how big do we want the one bank of the world to be? We don't want to have one protocol that, too big to fail. So it's actually healthy for there to be a vibrant diversity of, different consensus protocols and, places. So if there's one failure, everything else doesn't fall apart.
Yeah, I think that naturally, there will always be competition. I think so. It depends. And I don't know about the analogy with the internet as well. So, go ahead.
Hi, I guess to your first point on this slide, you mentioned that Ethereum like it is now, but cheaper, more secure, and faster. What are your thoughts on maybe potentially using like Substrate? Or Substrate plus Ethereum, or putting it onto like some sort of like blockchain platform that is essentially faster, more interoperable, and more secure?
So my understanding of Substrate is a way to that makes it easy for people who want to build their own blockchains.
Yeah.
Right, and so so some of the ways that this is being tackled right now is layer 2s, rollups, side chains, or maybe substrate chains, right? So there's that angle, but the disadvantage with some of those side chains or smaller chains is they just have much less security. This is why I think layer 2 with rollups is sounds like the most secure way to go. And then eventually, I think most people know the difference with between optimistic rollups and ZK rollups, and it sounds like the final goal in rollups is a ZK rollup that's like EVM compatible, so that people can just reuse what they're all familiar with already and the tooling out there. So that's my view on that.
Thank you.
One thing that I'm not very familiar about, or even about the benefits of the same, are essentially having a universal clock, as it were, in a distributed system, and whether that lends itself to more interesting types of ordering or applications that could be built. But is that something that is feasible?
Oh, okay. So you're thinking of like another item to the wish list,
Sure.
Some kind of like universal clock or. So
I know. I mean,
yes.
it's
Yep.
obviously like there's this.
No. It's good because this here we can talk a lot about many things because things just diverge or. So again, I'm not, I just barely know this, this area of, especially in MEV, right? There's like two approaches to MEV. One approach on the minimization aspect is, they call it like fair ordering, protocols, and I think a lot of the people who are trying to minimize MEV, they're thinking in a lot of those terms that I think you might be saying. It's like, even it's like consensus itself on the ordering of transactions, so that front runners or whatever can't you have to get consensus first on the order of transactions in a way. Yeah, that's some of the brief things that I've heard about that. But also, one quick thing that I'll just add, though, is about the time aspect, is because they're DevCon in London. Jeff Coleman, if people don't know, he gave it's a pretty complicated talk about time. So you might be interested in that, because I don't know where it went, but Jeff Coleman, he's the one who like initially started writing about state channels, and he's one of the most knowledgeable researchers in our area as well.
Yeah, I think I could, if I boil down the net conclusion of that, is that there is not a synchronized time across space. You just have orderings at different points, and then you agree to the ordering at different points in space. But you never have two different places in space that have a time reference.
Okay. I'll have to think about that.
Is that the relativistic motion in that sense, or is that like?
It's not.
Yeah, go ahead. Give him the microphone. Sorry.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
We'll talk about it later.
Okay. So these are just some of the items on my list so far. I'll go check if anyone else has to add. Go ahead.
I just wanted to address Tina, right? What you were asking. I think it's a really valid question, and I think in like a clean slate, I feel like a lot of researchers and people on Ethereum they know, Ethereum was launched with really great, amazing Vitalik and Gavin Wood 2013 ideas and technology, and the world's kind of moved on, and we saw that when Ethereum 2 was coming along, there was a really big desire to clean slate it and go to execution environments with 1,000 shards, not even 64, right? Remember those times? And it was going to all be WASM. We were going to rewrite the EVM interpreter in WASM and then compile it so that now it has even better performance, we thought, and everything else. But this is always blockchain and other technologies, you get to this problem of some combination of ossification, but it's not a bad thing necessarily. What it means is you're a victim of your own success. You have to support what you've done already. So there's there's a very fundamental nature thing about why do organisms at some point kind of die so that new birth comes along. I'm not saying Ethereum's not going to die anytime soon, but the new birth ends up being much cleaner because it incorporating all of the new things that are possible. So I do think, just to the point of what we're going to do what is expected on the WASM side is it's like at the very tail end of after a lot of other things have to get in, because there's so many things that need to happen after the merge, and then with improving secret shared validators and potentially trying to shield the knowledge of the ordering of validators in order to try to remove epoch to epoch pre-ordering bribes and collusion. But after all of that, the intention, I don't think anybody has sort of said that they want to get away from having WASM execution environments and running them across shards. But it's going to be a lot more heterogeneous. Like, it won't be the ETH2 of 1,024 WASM shards that are running both execution and data. Like, the 64 shards now are only data, so they actually look a lot more like lazy ledger. And then Ethereum 1 is a single shard that runs execution, except it has a really great exit path because there's so much data available to it. So it's kind of this amalgamation. But on top of that, then you could expect a whole bunch of shards will then get created that, you know, will be more oriented towards WASM execution, and, you know, it'll kind of grow. It, you know, to some extent, so the slowness with what it happens opens up the ability for other people who have great ideas to kind of optimize that and do something that's a little differentiated, with one of the key differences being clean slate and, you know, moving fast, being able to take risks because there's not a couple $100 billion, you know, moving in the system every day. So you can't do these protocol changes as well as you'd like. But yeah, I think eventually, you know, you hope you would see more, but not, I'm not saying it's like a maximalist, what that we see, you'll see more and you hope that in the end it all converges into this. No, you don't want Ethereum to like end the life cycle of not being able to improve anymore and then having to be shut down, so it has to keep improving. But there's just a lot of opportunity for other people to succeed as well.
Yeah, couple of minutes remaining. So I'm just wondering, you know, like in a wish list, is there any, and any things that people have on their wish list that they, you know, that they're really interested in that maybe I forgot to add? Or okay, go ahead, Amira.
Okay, so I have another one. So basically, Ethereum is a peer-to-peer system which inherited like some of the attacks that already peer-to-peer systems already have, like Eclipse attacks, for example. And I'm wondering if there could be more work, because I don't see so much work in this field to basically find solution to these inherited peer-to-peer attacks, and work on more reputation systems, for example, and to find a solution, for example, for the Eclipse attack. So even if it's theoretically in a theoretical attack, basically now on Ethereum, but all the peer-to-peer system are inherit such types of attacks and others. And yeah, I think it would be really great if some of the people who are working, at least on Ethereum, to devote more work, especially to this field.
Yep. Yeah, got it. Yeah, improving the some of the networking aspects. Yeah. So you'd add that to the wish list. Yep. Yeah, I agree with that. A quick one that I'll add though as well is. Yeah, so in some ways, you know, there's just so much stuff to do on Ethereum. That's why Ethereum is, you know, it hasn't implemented it yet, right? But yeah, some of the things that you've mentioned about, I do know that in Bitcoin, you know, they've done more on the networking side. So it's like like a very simple one is, you know, when you're syncing Bitcoin, you know, you can do that through Tor. You know, and it's like, I don't know if that's even possible in Ethereum. It seems to be something that I think it's more about just the time and the engineering that they haven't been able to get to that. But it is, it would be good for everyone if, you know, those things were around. And yeah, thank you. And then Robert, you had something? Or
I should say one thing on the networking is going from proof of work to proof of stake is really interesting, because in proof of work, the network latency is a competitive advantage if you're a miner. That, you know, that's why mining pools have these super low latency connections, so that they have an advantage to propagate their own mining. In proof of stake, you know, the network robustness is really critical, but the latency is not critical because it's not a race to win. The block proposer is already known. And so it's going to be a different kind of design. I think ETH2 is actually one where it's more possible to build a decentralized, stable network. I think in the competitive low latency one, it's harder to get people to decentralize, want to help each other with latency because they're, more interested in their own group once they're starting to collude, like mining pools. The other one that I was going to say, which I mean, to some extent, I think it's handled a bit by data sharding. By data availability sharding when phase 1 happens in ETH2. But like, if it was a wishlist item, like you have the complex calculations, which is for doing up to infinity scaling of computation as ZK proof constructs get better, and especially when it combines with like successive round partial homomorphic encryption like people are doing in the AI space. There's a number of protocols that are looking really good there. Scaling storage, a lot more than just the data availability of shards would be really good. And, we kind of gave up on that a while back, but if we had in protocol the ability to really reference, an infinitely large DHT, that would be, a nice thing.
So yeah, being able to increase the storage as well. Is that what you were saying?
Off-chain.
Okay.
Yeah, off-chain.
Okay. Yep. Yeah. Got it. Yeah. Just quick last comment I'll say on that. Yeah, I think decentralized storage is another thing that is we're even like years behind, and maybe other groups are also tackling. But definitely that's on the wish list as well. So okay, I think we'll end it there. Yeah. Thank you.